They asked for three major challenges of this administration. Of course, everyone has their own view of what might be challenges. I'd like to bring up two that are not got to do with foreign policy and, of course, foreign policy. The immediate one, number one, the most important short-term item to address is always the one that affects people's livelihoods the most. This inflation on food and basic transport and electricity, we have seen what can immediately and very quickly descend into chaos if people have a problem with food. It almost happened to us during the pandemic when people started taking over food resources and places to live. So this is something we have to prepare for, that in fact the BBM, President Bongbong Marcos, has already indicated that he's going to address these issues. Then we'll have to see that. That's very basic, the food and inflation that affects daily lives. In fact, the OCTA survey showed that if put against the other issues, the South China Sea issue in the Philippines that some parties want to keep playing up are actually in the 3% level, 2 to 3% level of consciousness only, and the greatest is their daily livelihood. The second thing we have to address is a medium-term thing, but has a very, very big impact. The reason I consider it, or many people will consider it as a major item, is because the cost of implementing it is not very high. The impact is very great, not short-term, but in medium-term. That means in a year, 2 years, the impact is already felt. That is the Industrial Revolution number 4. That means that we have to address our education and the digitalization of our economy, because that can immediately reduce traffic, increase enterprise without a lot of investment. So that's the second thing that we have to address. It's a medium-term thing. And the third thing that I would consider proposed to the government that is very, very important is, of course, this foreign policy issue. It's a medium term in that, if you don't have the food and inflation addressed, this might become secondary. But in the medium term, it is very fundamental because it could eliminate all the advantages of everything else. Now, if we look at, for instance, Ukraine, a powerful manufacturing sector, a powerful agricultural sector, a very big country, beautiful country, but it could descend into war and everything gets wiped out. And they keep, some Western countries keep proposing and pushing them to continue fighting. And in fact, Western media, as pointed out by Dr. Steinbach and others, keep indicating their victories when actually they've already lost 20% of their territory, a lot of their manufacturing and agricultural sectors, and they're still being pushed to continue fighting. So we would say, let's not get into that situation. Let's sidestep the issue, but we want a certain proposal that we don't need to keep addressing defensively and react and respond to how the powers tell us that they want us to be in this position or that. We can actually take the initiative to help shape in ASEAN and in the West and in the world how the policies are formulated. We can start helping shape the directions of these. So just as especially at this point when there's a lot of turning points for Russia, for the US, for China, Japan, they're all facing turning points. So our input in this area, being one of the levered areas that has a lot of influence towards what outcomes will be, we can take a more proactive position. Thank you. These are three of the initiatives we believe would have a good impact.
Okay. Thank you, Sir George, for that also very short but very enlightening discussion on the challenges for the President BBM's leadership